KGVO Missoula, KGVO FM Frenchtown, AM 1290 and 101.5 FM. Sports Talk tonight and streaming online at Newstalk, KGVO.com.
Nasty weather outside there in the Garden City of Missoula, Montana, but we are nice and toasty warm in studio. That rain, Denny, is going to make it the Garden City here in about a month, so we will we'll deal with it at the moment.
Stupid groundhog.
I tell you, Cameron thinks the groundhog's not real, but from the likes of it, it is.
Groundhog saw his shadow about 6 weeks ago and predicted 6 more weeks of winter. I think he came pretty darn close. Stupid groundhog.
Stupid groundhog. Sports Talk tonight. Gurns and Bedard,
yes,
we are live in the KGVO studio. Remember, we are streaming worldwide on newstalkkgvo.com. On the AM dial, 1290, over on the FM side, 98.3. Follow us on Twitter at Sports Talk Back. Podcast online at newstalkkgvo.com. If you want to give us a shout, area code 406-721-1290. And, boy, Denny, special guest tonight we're going to get to in a couple minutes. Tom Stage, voice of the Lady Grizzlies.
Nice to have Tommy back in the studio, although he'd still rather be in Reno calling games. But that's all right. We're still making him work.
He would. We're going to talk to him about this season, the downs and some of the ups.
Yeah.
And
well, you know, it's kind of, we've had Riley Corcoran in a few times, and really one of the few people that gets to experience firsthand every single game the team plays, whether they're home or on the road. And so, you know, I'm sure that he's got some interesting insights on where they've been and where they're going.
Some great perspective, I'm sure.
Indeed.
Denny, how was your week, man?
It was good.
2 weeks.
It's the holiday season now. You know, college basketball tournament's starting. So Jennifer's like, oh boy, another basketball game on TV. Because I start watching the tournament. I don't wait for the NCAA tourney. I start watching the tournament. So I got a few West Coast games in. Man, that was a bizarre semifinals. St. Mary's just dismantles Brigham Young 2 nights ago. The only team to beat Gonzaga, Brigham Young.
Right.
But St. Mary's, I'm watching them and going, man, that could be a Sweet 16 team. Better watch out for those guys. And then so they come in the next night and play Gonzaga, and Gonzaga proceeds to dismantle them, at least for a half. They're up 21 at half, but with about 11 minutes to go, it's down to 7. But Gonzaga, you know, they weathered the storm and ended up winning by double digits, 14-15, something like that. But pretty good ball clubs.
I know you got a few years on me, Denny, just a couple, but I'll give you a hint. When watching the basketball games, wait till they fall asleep. And then turn the volume really low, and then they don't get irritated. I'm telling you.
No, she's a good fan, and she watches. And what she's doing, of course, because she's competitive. We fill out our brackets just for fun between the two of us with a point system for each game you win. You get like 1 point for a first round game, and then it goes up from there. And she's done quite well over the last few years. So don't think for 1 minute she's not paying a little bit of attention while all that's going on.
No, and speaking of NCAA tournaments and conference tournaments, Oregon State gave Cal a good game today down there. Coach Tinkle, almost like Shannon Kate, coach of the Lady Griz, just beset with injuries this year, and they fall to Cal 67-62, but a pretty good showing. And
you were able to get him on the phone, Coach Tinkle on the phone a few weeks ago on our program, and I thought he was going to take up the whole show, going over, you know, all the guys that are you're right. I mean, just there were so many injuries.
I mean, starting with Trace and
his own son,
and moving just on down the list. I think their top 3 guys were out for most of the season.
Yeah.
So I know that Wayne's probably already blaring up those phones and recruiting and getting ready for next year. So no, it was a frustrating year for him. But
I think they'll be just fine.
I do too. Too good of a coach not to be. Yeah. And the Griz, we got a game tomorrow night.
Quarterfinal game.
Yes, sir.
Their first game of the tournament because they managed to work in a bye. We were off last week because they moved most of the Big Sky Conference games are Thursday, Saturday. Well, because the women's Big Sky tournament had to start on Monday in Reno, which Tom will talk about, among other things, they went to Wednesday, Friday. So that's why we were not on Sports Talk tonight last week. But nice way to end the home part of the season anyway.
Yeah.
With wins over Weber State and over Idaho State.
Yeah, and then the men's team kind of getting hot at the moment. The Montana and Idaho are arguably the 2 hottest teams in the Big Sky Conference right now, and they're They're going to meet Idaho, the 4 seed, and Montana, the 5 seed. And you know what? You never know what's going to happen in these tournaments. And Montana's got the talent.
And anytime you can take out Weber State at home late in the season like that, I would think that would buoy your confidence a lot.
First time in how many years that we've won down there?
Oh, gosh, 10, 12 years, somewhere in there.
Yeah, so
one postseason, but not a regular season game in Ogden for over a decade, I believe.
Congratulations, Ahmad Rory, second team All-Big Sky. Michael Agini was in third team All-Big Sky this year, so congratulations to those guys. And I like how they do it. There's 5 guys on the first team, there's 5 guys on the second team, and there's 5 guys on the third team.
That's it.
There's not 6 wide receivers and everybody gets a trophy. I mean, I like how they do it. That's the right way to do it. And congratulations to those guys.
Yeah. So good thing. I mean, not that they're having a bad year, but that's another team that's going to be even more exciting to watch next year, I do believe.
You bet. Hey, Denny, why don't we get to trivia early?
So we might as well.
So we can get to Tommy over here because he's just chomping at the bit to educate us, I'm sure.
We got lots and lots to talk about, so let's play Sports Talk Tonight trivia at 721-1290. If you know this week's answer, and of course we're brought to you just like we are every week by Fuddruckers and Happy Days Car Wash. Fuddruckers, world's greatest hamburgers. Whatever you order off that phenomenal menu, you get to top it yourself to make it just right. They start with premium beef, buns made from scratch every single day. You order up, they call your name, and then you go pile on the toppings, and that's good stuff. Now, it being Lent, they also want to remind you they have a wonderful fish and chips meal at Fuddruckers. You get 4 big pieces of their battered cod and a generous portion of their fries, their wedge-cut fries, that's what they call them, and tartar sauce, of course. That's available, too, at Fuddruckers on North Reserve, so we got a $10 gift certificate. From Brent and the crew at Happy Days Car Wash, a gift card for The Works Car Wash. Happy Days voted once again Missoula's favorite car wash in the last Missoulian Readers poll. So got a gift certificate to Happy Days. They are on Brooks between Pizza Hut and Fairbridge Inn and Suites. All right, 721-1290 if you know our trivia answer. We started talking about a little bit the Montana Grizzly basketball team on the road to Reno, awaiting their first game in the Big Sky Conference basketball tournament in its second year at a host site after mostly holding it in the arena of the regular season champion. Many people think we still should be doing that, but that's another matter. It's not the first time the Big Sky has gone with a predetermined site. They also experimented with it in 1989 and 1990 in A, Spokane, B, Salt Lake City, or C, Boise. Not the first time the Big Sky has gone with a predetermined site. They did it a couple of years, 89 and 90, in A, Spokane, B, Salt Lake City, or C, Boise. We got to have a winner, Gurns. I need one now at 721-1290.
I think I know the answer, Denny, but we will see. Sports Talk Tonight, brought to you in part by Orange Street Food Farm, a locally owned and operated grocery store featuring the freshest fruits and vegetables, fresh meats, and a great beer and wine selection. And by Grizzly Liquor, located downtown next to the Iron Horse. Big Sky, big selection, and online at grizzlyliquor.com. When we come back, we'll have ourselves a trivia winner and also the voice of the Lady Griz, Tom Stage. When we come back, Sports Talk Tonight with Gurns and Bedard.
721-1290. Call us now.
At Bell McCall Ford in Hamilton.
We are back. Sports Talk Tonight, Gurns and Bedard. Danny, before we get to Tom Stage, the man, the myth, the legend, let's get to our trivia winner.
Well, we can do that. If I reach way over there and flip that switch, we can say hello to Bob Kelly. How you doing tonight, Bob?
I'm fine.
Great to have you as part of the Sports Talk Tonight family. We appreciate that. We're talking college basketball, of course, and the Montana Grizzlies on the road to Reno, getting ready for their first game. By the way, we'll have that on the air. Riley Corcoran will go on with a scouting report at 3 and tip-off at 3:35 tomorrow afternoon right here on KGVO. It's in its second year at Reno, but not the first time the Big Sky went with a predetermined site. Also experimented in 89 and 90 in A, Spokane, B, Salt Lake City, or C, Boise. What do you think, Bob Kelly?
C, Boise.
Yeah, of course. Now, one of the big differences between the current tourney in Reno and the tournament back then, it was not a neutral site because Boise State was still in the Big Sky, and it was held at
Connor was their coach.
Bus Connor, good job. There goes next week's trivia question. No, I don't know that I don't know if I'd have got that one or not. That's good though. Yeah, Bus Connor. So it was held at the Boise Pavilion, not a neutral site. Did not help the Broncos, though. The Idaho Vandals won both years it was there. But see Boise, that's what we were looking for. Good job, Bob. I've got your mailing address. We'll get your Fuddruckers gift certificate and Happy Days Car Wash gift card off to you, all right?
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Bob Kelly of Missoula, Gerns.
All right. A Missoula. Hey, we got a Missoula listener. Holy cow.
I know.
What's going on? Pets' heads are falling off?
Yeah,
I
geez,
tell you.
know.
I tell you. Well, hey, congratulations, Bob Kelly. And with us now, a repeat Sports Talk Tonight guest.
Been a long time, but yeah.
It's been a while. He's a busy guy, keeping tabs on everything Lady Griz. Tom Stage, voice of the Lady Griz. How you doing, buddy?
Well, thank you for having me, you too.
Oh, you bet. And anytime.
And I'll give a high five to Bob Kelly. I've known Bob Kelly really well. Great Griz fan, great Lady Griz fan also.
Cool.
Awesome.
Oh, all right.
Yep.
Well, I tell you what, there's speaking of Lady Griz fans, Lady Griz fans are the best. I mean,
incredible.
How supportive and how wonderful are we to have fans like that?
You're right, Gerns. I mean, last week or at the end of the game, Shannon came over and grabbed the mic from Denny and thanked the crowd. It's incredible.
I wish I'd have known she was coming. Then I might have been able to, before the end of the game, I might have, because it's. I think it's okay to say stuff like that if the game is not hanging in the balance. If it's a 1 or 2 point game, you don't come on and go, "Hey, stay with us for a special." And now, but we were up. What I don't know.
Maybe 12.
12.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We knew we were going to win the game. I wish I'd have known because I would have been able to say with a minute left, "Would you please stay in your seats for a moment for a special message?" But all of a sudden. there she is.
I don't think Denny, she knew she was doing it. She comes over to me, she said, "Can I go talk?" And I says, "Well, just go ask Denny."
Yeah.
I don't think she
I think you wanted the heads up so you could get the spittle off of the microphone before you handed it to Shannon, but that's all right.
Yeah. And I said, "Yeah, let me introduce you." She said, "No, you don't have to." I said, "No, I'm introducing you." So the band got done playing. Ladies and gentlemen, Lady Griz head coach Shannon Schwain, and she just real simple message, but she wanted to your point, address the fact that I think Bill Speltz had an article about Lady Griz fans in the Sunday Missoulian, and yeah, attendance was down a little bit, but I guess it was less than 200 fans a game, which isn't too bad.
No, that's pretty good.
And here's a team that goes. What do we end up, Tommy?
We were 4-14 in the conference and 7-23. Right on.
And we lead the conference in attendance still by a mile.
That's incredible. And in defense of it, I keep saying this, but a lot of our fans are a little bit older. A lot of them have passed.
Yeah.
We haven't lost the fans just by not interested. We just lose them in life.
Yeah, there's that mortality rate because they are a little bit upper end demographics there. But boy, they are passionate and they are loyal. And I'm supposed to be there. You're there before me. I don't know what time you're supposed to. I think you just.
Well, we have 3 loyalists out there, Denny, in the lobby.
Yeah.
Virgil, his name, and William. Those guys are there with
there's a handful.
4:30.
Yeah, there's a handful of guys that get there. We have to. I'm supposed to be there a little over an hour before the game. You, of course, are already there by then, but they're not the only one. There's a lot of people on that. I imagine they can grab it's not like they're going to. Sit around and do nothing. They might have a bite to eat or socialize or whatever, but there's a bunch of them that get there early.
You're right, Guernsey. It's an incredible fan. It's a great fan base.
It's like morning coffee, That's just where you gather.
Yeah.
Where you gather. Talking with Tom Stage, voice of the Montana Lady Griz basketball squad. And, boy, Tom, the start of the year really didn't turn out how Coach Kate was envisioning taking over for Robin Selvig, did it?
Well, we lost 2 great players, the pre-conference MVP, she's so tough, and then we lose Sims too, Alicia Sims. Of course, I'm talking Kaylee Valley. Of course, the whole league knew who she was. Look at her stats. Last year at the tournament, she gets 30 and 27 in those 2 games we played, and just does it effortlessly, and then here she comes and blows that knee, just a freakish accident, and then about a month later we lose Sims, maybe 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
And then we got pups. Like I keep saying, it's an old cliche, but most of those kids we had played for us were at their junior prom a year ago before. Two of our starting 4 freshmen are true freshmen.
Right.
And Nicholson and we got.
And I'm sure, Tommy, that at least a couple of them that got to play a lot, not trying to critique their ability, but at least a couple of them were probably projected as redshirts.
Oh, no.
And still could be. I mean, maybe a couple that played this year as true freshmen will end up being redshirt sophomores, but I'm sure that Some of those kids that got significant playing time this year, they were not expected to get any playing time because they were going to be redshirt.
You're right, exactly correct. Choning and we could probably redshirt Nicholson, and they've been twice as good. We're not saying we can't do it again,
right?
With these two kids coming back.
No, but
but you're exactly right. Yep, and then throwing a lot of these kids come in and don't know how to play defense. Shannon keeps saying this, but talk about resilient. Here is Shannon Kate herself. She loses her two daughters on top of all this. I mean, two really good high school players,
Right?
Shelby and Sheridan both go down. This really good Sentinel basketball team. And now she got to put up with that.
Yeah.
Got to put up with Brian, her husband. That's not easy.
We know that's a handful in itself. And you know what is even more? And I was just, I was thinking about something for once, Tommy, and I had an idea. I think it's tougher to replace forwards and centers. Your down low players.
Yeah.
Because usually it takes a couple years to get strength and to develop, and you can come in out of high school, and if you can shoot the three-pointer, you can shoot the three-pointer. It takes some time to develop that low-post game.
Well,
and you lose your two low-post players.
Both positions.
And now you're, that's
in the same position.
And you, Tom, not only a play-by-play announcer, but you were a coach at one time. It has that sort of residual effect. One definitely affects the other because Montana did not have a lot of post presence. Therefore, defenses, they didn't have to worry about that so much. So those potentially good three-point shooters probably got shadowed and covered a lot tighter than they would have had there been more of that.
Couldn't say it any better, like Taylor Goligoski. She come out the gate and light it up, and then, boy, watch her a little bit in film, and Paul will see that right away.
Oh, yeah.
Start concentrating, and she doesn't even get a look, as the season progressed. And that's just part of it. No post presence makes a huge difference.
You interviewed her. Of course, you interview her several times a week. You interview her for the pregame shows. You interview her for the Tuesday night coaches shows through the end of February. But she's Shannon can put on a very happy, positive face. Did you feel like that was sincere? Did she stay upbeat? Do you feel like she got a little bit frustrated? And what did I get myself into? Or what is
Denny? That's an excellent question. But this kid is a lot tougher than I thought. She is. Like I say, she is not only resilient, she's got a lot of feistiness in her too. Excuse me.
I mean, you don't become a Kodak All-American back in the 90s without
you don't put in your shoulder 4 times during the year when it goes out of place and not be
let me pop that back in so I can play Southern Cal a little longer.
And a lot of people don't realize how great a player she was. These kids weren't even born yet, obviously.
Yeah.
And really how great a player Shannon was.
Yeah.
And just incredible.
They look at the hair and the short shorts and they figure she can't play basketball and wearing that. No.
I know. George Ravlin, when she threw that shoulder out against Southern Cal, I'll never forget that. Then Shannon came back in. Of course, they popped it in place, and she's shooting free throws. And he says, "Boy, they're not very bad looking either." I'll never forget.
Oh man,
Musburger.
That was
it's like a Musburger.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
Times have changed a little bit. Yeah.
Well, and you know that she's tough, and you know that it's just killing her inside though because she greens. She bleeds. Copper, silver, and gold. I'm going to use your colors, but I have all the faith in the world in Shannon Kate Schwain that she's gonna. She's going to be she's already an excellent recruiter. She's been that. We got girls coming in that are the player of the year from Malta. We're gonna be just fine.
And she played for Robin Selvig. She was his assistant coach for umpteen years, and you knew coming in that she wasn't going to try to reinvent the wheel. It wasn't going to be a completely different Montana team, but are there any little subtleties that you saw where you're thinking, okay, here's a couple of things where I can see Shannon putting her signature on next year's team?
Well, what she does, Denny, is she didn't realize, I've always said this, being in that head shed in that second chair. She thought, she said, Rob would go up in his room and never come out. Ever. She said, I thought, that is crazy. And she said, now I'm up in this room. She told me that yesterday, the day before. And she said, you cannot believe I don't come out of my room. You're looking at film continuously. There's people calling you from the media. And she said, I do not realize what he was going through until now.
Sure.
And so you learn that. And I think you're going to see a different kind of kid recruited than the Selvig era. And that's going to be interesting, too.
She alluded to that a little bit. We were able to get
exactly.
her She didn't have time. It was right after she got named the coach, and she was going to come into the studio for our show, and just too many things going on. But she was nice enough to at least call. And she alluded to that a little bit, not saying, this is what we're going to do. But I think she made a reference, Gerns, to, I think she used South Dakota as an example. I was talking to the South Dakota coach or an assistant coach and made the observation that your team got a heck of a lot better in just 1 year. What happened? And he said, we got this kid from, and I can't remember if he said Norway or Australia. We got this kid from a foreign country. And, I don't know that that's ever been part of Lady Griz recruiting radar, but every team does it, and a lot of them pan out and end up being great players. So she kind of hinted at that, not to say that that's the direction she's going to go, but to your point, that she might be going out looking for a little bit different player. And I guess you have to, because you have to be able to coach players in the style that you want to coach.
Well, these foreigners too, they play so many different games, worldwide, and it's a big. I thought the NCAA down the road, they're going to have to start making different rules, because some of them have 10 to 12 players from foreign countries.
Wow.
And Idaho State's coming in with 7 of them next year. I don't know what that does to your local fan base. I just say you better win, because locals get a little cranky if you don't.
7?
7 kids are coming in for Idaho State.
Holy cow.
That's what their announcer told us.
Holy
That's
cow.
unbelievable.
Wow. We're talking to Tom Stage, voice of the Lady Griz basketball team, talking about life and the season and what have you. A couple of rule changes in the women's game this year. They went to quarters.
Yeah, that was last year, but no.
Or last year. How is that? I never heard how that's working.
It was to hurry up the game, try to make it. And I do think it's shortened a little bit more.
It has shortened the game, but if you're a women's college basketball fan, like I am, I don't need the game to be 10 or 15 minutes shorter.
No,
I felt like they dumbed it down. I guess I'm not crazy about the foul rules. They if you get, it goes by quarters. If you get 5 personal fouls in a quarter, then on the 5th foul you're shooting 2. There is no more 1-on-1. You're shooting 2. But at the end of that quarter, the foul count resets to 0, so you can commit another 5 fouls before your opponent will be shooting free throws again. And quarters. I do like the one rule. I guess I kind of like that I find interesting is if you call a timeout, if your team has not inbounded the ball, if you're behind the baseline waiting to bring it in, and you call a timeout, you can advance the ball.
I love that.
You take it out in front of your own bench, I guess. So you've already crossed mid-court with no time off the clock. That one I find kind of interesting.
Now,
as far as going to quarters and the 5-foul deal,
are they doing that are they testing that to see if that might work on the men's side too? Do you think?
I don't know. I think they might at that half court take.
I thought it was just to speed up the game. Maybe somebody out there knows 721-1290, but I thought that one, and also the media timeouts are structured a little bit different. For example, if a coach calls a time, it doesn't happen very often, but 10-minute quarters, it can be 15 seconds into the 4th quarter. For some reason, a coach calls a timeout. That becomes the inside 5-minute media timeout rather than an extra timeout. They're doing things like that to speed up the game, but the fan base that comes to watch, that I don't think that's a big deal to them.
Yeah,
although I will say it did feel weird when the Idaho State game, for some reason, I didn't even notice, went for about 2 hours. And the average game's been going maybe an hour 40, something like that. I thought, what stretch? I didn't even realize what stretched this thing out, but I guess I did notice that. But they're not if that's the intent of the rules, I'm not too crazy about it.
Well, and speaking of the Idaho State game, as you mentioned, Tom, Lady Griz finished 4-14 in the Big Sky Conference, 7-23 overall. They actually won the last 4 out of 7 conference games. Took care of Idaho State 68-53, Weber State 71-46. Whoops, I don't have everything written down. Anyways, 4 out of 7 in the regular season.
Yeah, they also beat Northern Arizona, and they beat Southern Utah.
What changed in the second half?
I just think maturity of the kids, a lot of it, and they really improved defensively. When you come out of high school, we call it matador defense. One kid doesn't defend anything, and they just worry on just one kid they're checking. And then now it comes when you get to college, you got to have the shell defense, and you got to really know how to play it. And I think if they progressed, the season got better. Eric Hayes helped that. Assistant coaches, really helped. Petrino helped, Coach Petrino and Eric Hayes, and of course Sonia. And they all got it on the same page, and they all played pretty good together. And the kids' kept their heads up. Well, I was really impressed with that. A lot of them could have had their heads down, boy, walking on their chin, most of the time. But they didn't. And they really played well. Came on towards the end pretty well.
Well, we always say in football with the Griz, once you get about halfway through that freshman season, if you've played quite a bit, then you're not a freshman anymore, and it's time to.
Well, yeah, and that's pretty much how this team had to be, because it was not just occasional minutes here and there for most of them.
No,
Bobby Knight said it well. He said the greatest thing about freshmen is that they're going to become sophomores.
I mean, what's great is the top 6 scorers are not only is Alicia Sims and Kaylee Valley coming back, but you've got Taylor Goligoski, Mackenzie Johnston, Maddie Schoening, Haley Nicholson, Emma Stockholm, and Sierra Anderson. Your top 6 scorers, the top 5 of them being freshmen. I mean, the future is bright. Yeah. The future is bright.
And I don't leave out Kenzie Johnston. What a great season she had, particularly the second half. She got Big Sky Player of the Week one week even, as a redshirt sophomore, or freshman, I should say. And she's going to be a dandy. You get these other kids, these 2 post players coming back, and you watch these assists go up even more than they did this year. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I love that kid.
We are going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to have Tom Stage for just a little bit longer. We're going to keep him in the hot seat here, and in the hot seat.
We ask the tough questions, don't we?
That's this is the first time we've referred to it as a hot seat. No offense, Tom. We'll be right back. Sports Talk Tonight.
Sports Talk Tonight, live from the KGVO studio.
Missoula Sports.
We're back. Sports Talk Tonight, brought to you in part by Bell McCall Ford. Great selection of new and used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Great deals on 2016 F-150s. Your locally owned low-cost auto dealer for over 100 years in downtown Hamilton. And by Granite Pharmacy, locally owned and operated pharmacy on South Avenue between Shopko and Big Sky High School. Find them at granitepharmacy.com. And as always, our guest, Tom Stage, brought to you by First Montana Bank. Your home for free Centennial checking plus unlimited cash back every time you use your debit card online at firstmontanabank.com. And Tom, let's just kind of reminisce a little bit. How long have you been doing this for the Lady Griz?
Well, I just finished my 17th year.
Wow.
It's hard to believe. I did it earlier when I was teaching school, and then they said, you can't teach school and do the way back in the 80s. I'd Shree Brat, remember the Roberts girls, had all the way back with. So Robin and I go back a long, long ways with it. Yeah. But speaking of another thing, not to change subject, but my train of thought.
By all means.
The talk was now when we left that they might want to go back to 8 teams.
For the tournament?
Both the men in the tournament, Big Sky. And then they could start on a Wednesday, both ways. Because these teams just getting a ribbon, like you just alluded to early. I don't know if the 4 teams wanted to go anyway.
Right.
Although we wouldn't have got to go this year, for example, but still.
You know what? I'm going to completely agree with you on that. I hate what the NCAA has done with the 68 teams now instead of the 60. Yeah. I mean, what is that?
It's the play-in game, isn't it?
Yeah. Here's a carrot.
It's the first 4, and I guess it's an opportunity to say we won an NCAA tournament game. Some of those teams, I mean, a couple of them have done really well coming out of that thing, but most of them are one and done.
Yeah.
One win and done. It's an opportunity to say, hey, we won an NCAA game. It's an opportunity to go to Dayton, Ohio, I guess.
I guess so.
And I like that. You know what? The regular season needs to mean more. And if you eliminate some of those teams, then I guess it means a little bit more for those top 8.
Well, and I think for the smaller conferences such as ours, along those lines, so would hosting the tournament. I mean, if you win the regular season,
of course,
host the tournament.
Sure.
But Coach Binford was so happy to go on a neutral court out of Bozeman, Well, they now won back-to-back, and they could have hosted these last 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
In Bozeman.
Yeah.
And the place could have been a sellout.
Yep.
It just goes to show you. You never know.
You never know. Be careful what you wish for, right?
No kidding.
Speaking of Reno, how do you like it down there in Reno, Tom?
Well, I think
where they hold the tournament.
The arena's it's a nice arena, and the Chamber's tried really well. And the conference, they've really tried to promote it. But there's nobody there. Their atmosphere is terrible. The band is probably, NAU's band was more than anybody in attendance.
Wow.
And I don't know if that'll ever change. Of course, they're men and the women, they're in Vegas for their tournament, but they really try, and in the casinos there where we stay, they comp the rooms to all the teams. And it's walking distance. It's only half a block or so to the arena. So there's some pluses, but it's just, like you say,
friends and family and the band, and
that's it. And the predetermined site, I guess the one advantage, people can get their tickets way ahead, the grandmothers and moms.
Sure.
But that's basically all that's there.
Sure.
Now the men might draw me a little more tomorrow. We'll see. Last year they didn't get too many there either.
No.
But
I think ticket sales overall were even down more than they were last season for the tournaments. I know that the University of Montana, who typically, would probably sell the most, their ticket count, advanced ticket count was pretty low this year. 17 seasons. What do you still like the best? I'm sure what you like the least is you have to travel with your friend Dick Slater.
Well, that's tough.
That is your cross to bear.
Tough.
But
I know all about traveling with a partner
slates,
there.
Yeah, that's true. And but I guess the thing is it's the early morning stuff. It's starting to kill you. Those trips, and you got to get up at 4 a.m. or 5 and get on. Those kids stay 18 and 21 forever. Slater and I, we don't do that. And that starts building up too. But I look at what coaches go through too. It's just amazing. They don't sleep at all. Mm-hmm. But we got a great gig, and as a whole, these kids are awesome. You've traveled with kids too. They're girls, women are just so academic. They're in the books continuously. Now you and I, Guernsey. I don't know if we'd ever do that.
I think that was the coolest thing, doing the color for the football team for so long. 17 years, by the way.
Of course.
You're catching up to me, Tom. Well, I stopped, but anyways. The relationships that you make and the friends and the like with Coach Selvig and Shannon and I'm sure Annette Rochelo and the players too and the crew on the road. It's just they're friendships that you're going to have forever.
And you see different parts of the world. You never get a chance. You would never do this if we didn't have this gig.
Oh, right.
And it's crazy. It's just you travel in the best places, and like you say, with great people.
I remember getting a photo text from you, 2 seasons ago from Notre Dame.
Oh, wow.
When the Lady Griz had to go be the sacrificial lamb for the number 1 seed Notre Dame. But, hey, you got to see Notre Dame, and you were pretty excited.
And then he says, I want to see a picture of Touchdown Jesus. Well, I said it to him, but I got one about 10 minutes earlier.
Oh, yeah.
What a great atmosphere that is, just to see it.
Yeah, just to be in the places that you see on TV and you hear people talk about and to watch some of the kids, the girls and the guys that are going on to the next level. Hey, it's like, hey, I saw them play. Oh, that's pretty special.
It is.
Well, speaking of challenges and remaining positive through it all, for those who don't know, you had to deal with a stroke. Was that 2 years ago or 3?
It was in 2014.
Okay, coming out just about 3 years ago. Right in there.
Right about now, yeah.
But you sure don't seem to let it define you. But how you doing?
I'm getting better with that. It's just I go physical therapy 4 days a week, and I just keep hanging in there. I hate to be whining on it, but
not whining. I asked you.
I know, but it could have been worse. A lot worse, and it didn't affect the speech. Thank God I can do that. Some people think it does. Well, I'm announcing anyway. But
well, yeah, I didn't want to say anything.
and then it didn't affect my long or short term memory. But Selvig said I never had a brain anyway, so it didn't affect that.
Yeah. You couldn't lose on this deal, it sounds like, according to your friends.
But Robin is going to say a little thing about Robin. It's not missing him. It's how we're going to live without him. It's one of those kind of scenarios with him. But trying to fill the shoes, Shannon and her crew. You're right, Guernsey. Watch what another year brings us. And I know the pressure is going to come on a little bit more with these two kids coming back.
As it should.
As it should. That's right.
Do you get a chance to visit with Robin Selvig still?
Quite a bit.
Quite a bit?
Yeah, he texts me about every day, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Just check and see how you're doing,
Check
probably.
and vice versa.
And you would have expected this anyway, probably from any coach, but I think that he has probably gone even further out of his way to not be a figure, to not be a Lady Griz basketball figure. He wants to be, his seats are, I think they're closer to the moon than they are the arena floor at the games. I mean, he's
Out of the way.
Yeah. He
way
wants,
above us
he
and
just,
way back. Yep.
Yeah, he just does not. He's not. He didn't stay on as a consultant. He's not calling up Shannon. Here's how I would have done it back in my day. I mean, he's just it's her team.
Yeah,
and
that's class.
You would expect that of him, but I'm sure there's a lot of fans that probably think, well, maybe you should go. Why don't you go do something about that? And it's just,
Were you surprised when he hung it up, Tom?
In a way, you know what got to him, Guernsey? I think it was the recruiting. So that recruiting thing, like we all get tired. That recruiting, it not anymore with the social media, and going out and, I don't think they even home visits anymore with kids. It's just all that. And
It used to be you'd go to a small town in Montana and you'd
have
come in and
dinner with them.
have dinner and talk and it was real personable and it wasn't a lot of, what can you do for me kind of a mentality anymore.
well, and not saying this is why he got the job, but when Shannon needed to hire a new assistant coach with the departure of Trish Deuce and everything that happened there, I think one of the things that really jumped out, and maybe you know more about this than I do, one of the things that really jumped out on Mike Petrino's resume, our new assistant coach, is his recruiting skills.
Incredible. That's the number one why they took him.
Okay.
And he got Roberts away from us from saying, I keep telling that. The best player we could have had. He still shakes his head on that one. But you're right, and his talent really lies in his recruiting. In fact, he's on the road now in 2 different states, and that kind of way. So he's a great addition.
2 different states. See, a little different recruiting already.
Yep.
2 different states. What are we usually? Montana, Washington, some Idaho, some Oregon.
There you go.
I mean,
yeah,
about there.
I can't remember the last California kid we had. It's been a while. We've had a few, but
and quite a few Oregon kids.
Yeah,
he's had. But that's the basis of it.
Yeah,
Duke
we don't travel east very far.
No, not too much.
No, and that's okay.
Yeah,
keep it in the Northwest. But no, you gotta branch out there, and you see it happening all the time in other sports too.
What did you see? You mentioned it, and I saw it too, but I wasn't a coach, so I can't really put my hand on it. But what did you see when you said that they're learning the defense and their intensity is a little bit better? They're getting what are they learning?
Well, it's just how to play help defense, Denny. It's just a lot of kids don't know how to play help defense in high school. You just one-on-one and hand up. I call it the matador type of defense, and it takes a long time. You ask any kid who plays Division I or college, it's trying to adjust defensively. They call it a shell drill. You just look off and come over to help, and all this thing. This Nicholson girl now, she's taking 3 and 4 charges sometimes in a game, which is unreal. It's unheard of for her to do this. But to teach that, and that's towards the end of the season. Mm-hmm. That's why they got better.
And the help defense, you play man or you play zone,
right?
And the help it's almost when you're playing help defense, you're going into a zone for a second, right. And then you're help, and then you're jumping back out and getting back into man, and and sometimes it's you need to jump to the post, sometimes you need to jump to the top. I mean you're right. It just takes a while to get used to.
And now that you say it that way, I'm visualizing some of their defensive schemes early in the season, and I'm thinking, oh, there was way too much help defense there because that kid you're kind of supposed to be guarding, she's over there all by herself waiting to jack a 3.
Well, and you got 2 guys or two people helping out on defense. That means somebody's open somewhere. So, yeah, 6th graders don't know how to do that either.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
But it takes in time, and they get better and better as you get better. And I'm looking forward to this coming up, these next couple. It's going to be fun. It really is. But but the 1-on-1, like Denny was saying, they take that away from us now in college. I love the one-on-one because it puts pressure on that.
I thought so.
The front end, you better make that thing of the rhythm.
I like the way, the men still do it that way. I like, seventh foul is 1-1. 7, 8, and 9 are still 1-1 before it goes to automatic 2-shot. I like that structure a lot, personally.
Oh, yeah.
This, I don't know. Again, it just seems like, they're not going back to the prehistoric era of making them play half court, but it just seemed like for whatever reason, it was kind of a kick in the knee to women's basketball, and maybe that's the wrong way to look at it. I don't know, but it didn't seem like they were moving forward by doing that.
I would have been all in favor of 2 shots because I don't know how many times I got to the back end of a 1-on-1. Let me tell you. I think honestly my career free throw, and I averaged like 18 points a game my senior year. I shot like 58% from the line. It was not pretty.
That's why you were not Grizzly basketball standout, Scott Guernsey.
It was hack-a-shack.
Okay.
It was
In Montana, the Lady Griz shot terribly from the foul line this year, 61%.
Until late in the season.
Until late in the season. Good point.
Maybe that's another.
Yeah,
maybe that's another positive.
That's why they improved too.
Yeah.
That's
so Coach Stage, not announcer Tom Stage. Before we wrap it up here, we really appreciate your time. But what does Coach Stage think that team has to do next year to improve a lot?
Well, those 2 kids are going to get us healthy. The 2 post players. But then I think you never know who we're going to redshirt. It's questionable there too. And does a kid really want to? Like Emma, she's going with her boyfriend is probably going to go to the NFL, going to play in some Sundays. And I don't know if he'll complete these 4 years at Washington. So, how kids are in love at 18 and then 19. You never know. So hope Emma stays around because she's got potential being really a good player. If she'll learn to play some defense. Here we go again.
Yeah, there it is.
But I can just see it coming. The league's got really good too coming back. But this team, I hate to put pressure on Shannon, but it's going to be fun.
She probably wants that.
I do. I think so too.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be fun, and you're going to be right there on the sideline telling us all about it, too, I'm assuming.
And happy spring to you.
Yeah, you too, Tom.
If it ever comes.
That's right, that damn groundhog.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Coach Tom Stage, announcer.
Great to have you on, Tom.
Lady Griz basketball.
Thank you for having me.
And we will catch up with you next year, I'm sure.
Okay, buddies.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Tom. When we come back, we will have Stupid and Steal of the Week on Sports Talk Tonight with Gerns and Bedard. All right, Tom.
Thanks.
We're back. Sports Talk Tonight with Gerns and Bedard. Very special thanks to Tom Stage, voice of the
Thanks,
Lady
Tom.
Griz basketball squad. Always a pleasure to have Tom here. We are brought to you in part by Jerry Wessel's Tire Center, the locally owned Les Schwab Tire Center. Provides the best tire value promise. Visit them online at jerrywesselstirecenter.com. And by CHS Mountain West Co-op, Western Montana source for Cynics fuel, feed, fertilizer, clothing, and tack for over 75 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Scott Guernsey's Steel of the Week. That brought to you by True North Steel, Western Montana's industry leader in quality, manufactured, and fabricated steel products. Gerns, what got stolen?
Well, I got a little steel, and then I got a good steal.
All right,
And
so
the
we got twin steel, twin beams.
Little steal happened today in the NFL that kind of under the radar. The New England Patriots, up to their old tricks again. They acquired a number 6-round draft pick this year and tight end Dwayne Allen for the Colts. And they gave the Colts their 4th-round draft pick. So they gave the Colts a 4th-round draft pick. They got Dwayne Allen, a number 6-round pick from the Colts. And let me tell you, Dwayne Allen, if the guy is healthy, he is an all-pro tight end. So the Patriots...
Tight end. Is that Gronkowski Insurance, or what is
well,
that?
I think it is. Well, they're going to lose Martellus Bennett, more than likely in free agency, and Gronkowski, who knows. But they always run with 2.
Yeah.
And another weapon that they got on the cheap. Not only do they get a 6-round back, but they only had to give up a 4. So,
right.
I mean, nice job.
No personnel, just the draft pick.
Just that.
Right.
So that's my little steal.
Okay.
And then my big steal, Lady Griz basketball team. last half of the season, end up stealing 4 victories. I don't want to say steal, but from the way, and just as an example, the first time that Montana played Idaho State, they lost by 18 points. First time they played Weber State, they lost by 16 points. Then on the turnaround, they beat Idaho State by 15, and they beat Weber State by 25. I mean, what a turnaround. Not so much a steal, but good job of picking up some victories when they were unexpected. And I think the future is very bright for Shannon County.
Yeah, then of course they have to turn right around 3 days later and play Idaho State again. Lost the game by 10, but only gave up 63 points, which is not bad. Again, that's probably a sign of good defensive things to come. And I think it was, we talked about a little bit earlier in the show because we had Tom Stage on, but I think it was a nice way to wrap up the home conference season.
Sure.
Because you really did, and Shannon Schwain did come over and thank the crowd for sticking with them. There was no doubt in my mind that it wasn't an issue of half of these people are going to disappear. They're not Fairweather fans.
No.
They're Lady Griz family, and so down just a little tiny bit, but they will more than make up for that next year. And so
I agree, Denny. I agree, and that is the steal of the week.
Brought to you by True North Steel, Western Montana's industry leader in quality manufactured and fabricated steel products.
All right. Jennifer, what do you want?
I have a better steal.
Jennifer Bedard.
Do it. Right. There's a mic. Grab the mic.
You want that one?
Holy cow.
All
What's
right.
going on?
Jennifer Bedard has a steal of the
Southern
week.
Utah. Stealing the Bobcats' hopes and dreams of going on in the tournament last night. In the third overtime.
You know what?
There are probably some people that don't know that yet because that didn't get done till, 11:30.
11:45
Yeah.
you were like, they got to win, I got to go to bed.
Yeah, we're both kind of watching the
You're
game.
in my heart. You're in my heart.
I was waiting. I figured that was going to be your big steal after you did your little mini steal. I thought, he's got to pick at the Bobcats.
Maybe you better. I'm voting for you to kick Denny's butt in the brackets.
I normally do.
I know.
So it's
I know.
not a worry.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm a better fan than he is. He kept switching from the Gonzaga game the other night to go watch the Lady Bears lose.
Well,
in their tournament.
It was an interesting game. And
Well,
the
West
Gonzaga
Virginia's
game
better
was not.
than everybody
boy.
thinks they are.
Do you guys just bicker about this all night, or
Yeah.
was it just
Yeah.
here?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's
Once
March Madness. He gets control of the remote.
Yeah.
All right.
My
Yay, Thunderbirds!
by 1 month, but it was bizarre. I mean, we're just following the Big Sky tracker, and it's 42-29 at halftime. Montana State. I'm thinking, okay, well that makes sense. They're a pretty good club. Southern Utah only won about 5 or 6 games all year, and so that made sense. And I didn't get back to it. I don't know. It was I figured. Well, what I was thinking was I was going to go back to it and see the final, and I'm going. They tied it up. It's
Game's
like
still
7-9
going.
apiece, but it's got to be almost over. And I didn't look down at the little icon that said period 3. They're in overtime, and MSU gets ahead by 5 or 6 in the first overtime. Southern Utah comes back and ties it up. Second overtime, MSU gets up 5 or 6. Southern Utah comes back and ties it up. Third overtime, they're up 101-97 late in the game. Southern Utah comes back. Not only do they tie it up, then they get a steal and a layup. Then they make their free throws, and they win the game 109 to
106.
106.
Wow.
And it was a 3-point game because I think MSU threw a last-second excuse me shot in to make it a couple points closer.
Well, Jennifer Bedard, I love that.
But that was a good steal. The number 12 seed knocks off the number 11 seed because Northern Colorado's not participating. Knocks off the number 6 seed.
Right.
Big upset in the Big Sky Conference tournament.
Okay, that was a steal. Now it's on to the stupid
Yes,
athlete
please.
of the week. I tell you what, it usually comes down to football players. I don't know. It must be the concussions, and they're just kind of goofy. I don't know. But Alabama, this is the Combine's going on.
Right.
Just about getting wrapped up, if it's not already wrapped up. But anyways, last week, Alabama Crimson Tide linebacker Reuben Foster. I don't know if you watch this guy play, 6'1", 245 pounds, just meaner than a stray cat. Rated the number 1 inside linebacker in college this year. He's predicted to be in the top 10. He is at the Combine, and he's not testing because he just had labrum surgery, rotator cuff surgery. and he's standing in line because he's still going to interview with teams, and he's going to go through his medical evaluations and what have you. And something happens where he gets into an argument with a hospital worker while waiting in line, pulls the "Don't you know who I am" card. He's standing in line with all of these future NFL players.
Don't you know who I am? Medical personnel.
And they end up sending him home. And he was injured a little bit this year. He had some concussion stuff going on. I don't know if he just didn't want to go in and get evaluated or what the deal was, but he goes from a top 10 pick to now they're saying he's going to fall to the end of the first round. But I mean, come on, what are you doing? How stupid is that?
Well, what you're not doing is exercising some public relations skills, which by that point in your playing career, you probably should at least have a little bit of a handle on.
I mean, I don't care what's going on. You got to just sit there and whatever. I don't get it.
Well, I hope he doesn't become your new Johnny Manziel,
Well, we will see. Johnny Manziel, hey, got a new girlfriend.
There we go.
She's inspiring him to make a comeback, and he's in shape and blah, 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 blah. We shall see. Hey, speaking of the combine, Denny, John Ross, receiver, comes out early from the University of Washington. Adidas has a deal to where Chris Johnson held the record at 4.24 seconds
right.
In the 40-yard dash, and Chris Johnson been in the NFL for a long time. Adidas said, we will give anybody a contract with Adidas and your own island if you can break that record, with the caveat being that you have to do it in a pair of Adidas spikes.
A specific brand, or not?
Well, I think it was
make,
it was Adidas, just Adidas.
Just Adidas. Okay, I thought it was a specific make.
And anyways, John Ross gets out there and runs a 4.22, smashes the record, breaks the record, but he's wearing Nike shoes, and they tell him, it's too bad, you had this island, and they're interviewing him, and blah blah. Don't you feel like a dummy? And he says, well, I really don't swim that good anyway, so what do I need an island for? Which is just great.
He does play that good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed why he had a few injuries he had to deal with, didn't he?
Yeah, he's kind of on the slider side. He's kind of a Deshaun Jackson.
Yes,
with blazing speed, but he's got really good hands.
Yeah, fun player to watch.
Yeah. So he's just coming off of shoulder surgery too, and he's going to be ready, I think, before the start of the year. But
very good.
He improved his draft status. Well, on the other hand, Reuben Foster did not.
Guernsey's new Manziel. We shall see.
I came straight from Access Fitness, Denny, to come here. I'm a little sweaty today, but you know what? They never have an initiation fee over there.
Nice.
And a contract. So get over there, get the workout in. We will see you next week. Sports Talk Tonight.
Pre-game at 3 o'clock, tip-off 3:35 tomorrow. Griz take on Idaho in the Big Sky Tourney right here on KGVO.
See you later.